Hey, it's Grant and Mike from Rather Dashing Games.
Today we're here to teach you how to play our newest game, Elements. In the box, you receive the rules, this 16 by 16 board, 4 unique sages.
You also get the element bag, in which you will put 120 of these 4 different colored element stones. And you're ready to play.
Yeah, this is set up right now for a 4-player game. However, we are today going to show you a 2-player game.
Your turn begins by drawing up to 4 stones randomly from the bag. Your goal is to use these stones to encircle the other player so they can no longer move.
Your sage can move 1 space in any direction, as long as that space is unoccupied. If you wish to move your sage more on a turn, you would simply draw fewer stones at the beginning of your turn. For every stone you do not draw, you would gain 1 extra move.
Each of the 4 element stones behaves differently, and each one can be replaced by a different element. Fire works like this. If there's a fire stone on the board already, and you place fire next to it, fire spreads, so you would get a free stone from the bag on the opposite side of it. This does not work diagonally, only orthogonally. Now this gets interesting in a situation like this. If there are 2 fire stones on the board, and I place one here, I would get 2 more free ones. Like that. Now fire can be replaced with water.
If there's water already on the board, and I place another water stone next to a water stone, this now becomes a river with the stone I placed as its starting point. I now then have to move this 2 spaces. The whole river goes with it. If I do it again, I now have to move it 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I place another one, let's say I place it here, I would no longer get this. I only take a straight line of water. I can then use this to 1, 2, 3. I can put out some of the fire on the board. The larger your river gets, the further it moves.
Now earth replaces water. Earth does not move like the other 2 elements here, but if you stack another earth stone on top of one, it and all earth attached to it is now immovable and irreplaceable for the rest of the game. It also will prevent a sage from moving diagonally across it.
And that's the only element that's able to block on the diagonal. Now, normally, wind could replace earth. However, since these are built into a mountain range, that's not an option right now. So my sage is pretty well surrounded, so I need to find a good way to escape. So I'm going to place a wind stone here. Now, what wind allows me to do is jump. And that is a free action. That doesn't count against my move. So I'm going to jump, and then I'm going to use my movement to move here. And I'm going to take 3 other wind stones and put them all right here. This creates a whirlwind, and a whirlwind can be up to 4 stones high. And what it allows me to do is to jump that many spaces. So that's 3. So I can go whee and get all the way over here. Wind can be replaced by fire.
That's it. That's how the element stones work, and they can be used very creatively to try to entrap the other player. Here are some examples.
Here you see water's kind of got this sage in a little bit of trouble. However, I can use that to get this water away from me and more towards my opponent's sage. So if I put 1 water here, I now have a river that is 4 long.
You have to move it.
I have to move this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So I have another water in my hand, so I'm going to put that one here, and now I can move this one 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Then you see I've gotten most of this water away from me, and now my opponent's sage is in a lot more trouble.
This sage is pretty much surrounded, and I'm going to use the rule of replacement to get out of there. Fire can be replaced with water. Water can then be replaced with earth. Now this earth is not a mountain range, so it can be replaced with wind, and my sage can get out of there.
Nice.
Okay, so how do we win?
Well, there's quite a few different ways. Let's show a few. Here's what a standard capture would look like. This sage is almost surrounded. I put some water here, and I have to move this 2 spaces. There, the sage is captured.
So as long as that sage can't move before drawing stones on their turn, they're captured.
That's how it works. So here's some other, just some crazy examples that I'll just show you. Let's say this was set up like this. Now normally this would not count as a capture because we have wind and the sage can jump wind. But if I put my sage there, there's no exit, so that would count as a capture. Or even more so, if there were no stone there, obviously he's not trapped, but I was able to move my sage in. Again, I have captured my opponent.
Entrapping a sage can become pretty creative. Here's an advanced one. He's got 3 earth around him. If I put another earth here, he's still free to move diagonally out. But as soon as I stack that other earth, this is now a mountain range and he cannot move on the diagonal and he is trapped.
That's pretty interesting.
It's a good one.
Here's another unique way of capturing your opponent. Now, this sage is not trapped because this wind allows him to jump and escape. But the only thing I have in my hand is a wind. So maybe if I place this here and make a whirlwind, he now would have to jump this 2 spaces and his exit point would be this fire. Since he can't do that, he is now captured.
Wild.
It's crazy stuff. A 3 or 4 player game is played round robin style, where this sage is attempting to capture this sage is attempting to capture this sage, and so on and so forth.
So the first player to capture their sage wins. If you inadvertently capture another player's sage, you forfeit victory to that player.
That's how you play Elwyn from Rather Dashing Games.
Easy to learn, hard to win.
Rather Dashing Games. Well played.